want to welcome you all to the final presentations, not just of spring, but of the whole year. This has been a really crazy year for everybody. So we thank you guys for adapting so quickly. You have been through this once before when we presented for winter term. Now you've been doing online learning for an entire term. So we just asked you to think about the snapshots that represent spring term for you, related to your classwork, related to what's going on in the world right now, what's going on in Chicago. And we were using this theme because we were participating in a project called Snapshots of Joy, which we started during civic term. You all had a camera, you took images of things that brought you joy. And we were hoping to share those images as part of final presentations today for this event. But unfortunately, our negatives and the enlargements that you had all selected, they burned with central camera when the store burned down last weekend. So that's why we've asked you each to identify at least one snapshot that represents your experience this term. So we will get started with Harrison. And we'll do 3 to 5 minute presentations, and then we'll have about 5 minutes of Q&A at the end. All right, I will turn it over to you, Harrison.
Okay, so for this final presentation, I decided to, my presentation is about snapshots of passion. And this pretty much is about like my passion for game design and like sort of the genius that goes behind it. So I sort of feel like this game design is sort of underrated. I feel like since games are sort of written off as sort of, I guess, childish in a way, but I feel like there's a lot of thought and intention put behind these projects that is going unappreciated, despite the immense effort put in by the developers and game designers. So, the reason why this relates to this current like time is in quarantine is that I sort of like decided to sort of rekindle that passion and sort of look into start to analyze games that I've just been playing, for games that I love and that I've been playing for most of my life. So for what I decided to do was focus on this game called Terraria, which recently had some, I guess, attention for the developers finally saying that they're done with this project. So I decided to sort of analyze like one of the more unique enemies in the game. So the boss that you're looking at right now is called the Wall of Flesh, and the entire thing about it is that, well, it's a wall, which is it goes through a sort of a corridor area, which is meant for this sort of enemy. I guess the uniqueness about the boss and the creativity is that no other enemy is like this. The entire thing about the game is that you're spending your time dodging enemies and sort of weaving around, while this one you have to run away and you have to face it head on. So the reason why I sort of like I feel like I can sort of tie it back is like sort of the idea of thinking outside the box and sort of taking sort of the mold and like breaking it intentionally without having to ruin or degrade the experience out of necessity. So if you're gonna like go against the status quo, you have to do it with intention and creativity, and sort of go through a lot of review, because those cliches are there for a reason. And if you're gonna go against them, you have to have a good reason. So this enemy sort of shows that of going against the status quo of, or sort of what you're used to, and breaking it in a creative way that sort of throws you for a loop. It's something that isn't expected, and something that's very unique and should be sort of I feel like it's sort of downplayed, and sort of should have a little bit more, I guess, respect for the genius that's put behind the enemy. And that's my presentation. This is my snapshot of passion.
Thank you. Any questions for Harry?
what's your like favorite thing about Terraria?
I guess the op- I guess sort of the survival aspect of like being able to like take your time and like sort of, I don't know, like having big enemies like this and having like major milestones is something that I feel like sets it apart from like games that are sort of like Minecraft, where instead of having like two bosses at the very end of the game, you got it throughout the entire journey, and it just feels a little bit more gratifying and keeps you going for a little bit longer.
Okay.
Any other questions? I'm wondering, you said that the presentation is snapshots of passion, and it's about your passion for game design. When you think of game design, are you mostly critiquing it as a player, or do you have an interest in actually being a game designer yourself? Is that something that you are interested in? Is that something that you know how to do or would like to learn how to do?
Well, yeah, I have been learning how to sort of I've been looking into some like I guess interviews of like major game designers and like sort of like getting into their mind like sort of because they do have an interest in one day designing my own game. Um, so yeah, that's where the passion sort of comes from.
And when you design your own, what would be the elements that you've learned that you would want to make sure that you incorporate into your own design? What are elements that you really appreciate?
Well, that's sort of like changes from genre to genre because you can't just have like one uniform experience for the video game. So if but like in this sort of scenario of a sandbox, I might take inspiration of a sort of 2D environment because you can get like it's a restriction that is sort of good, or you can have a lot of because of well restrictions birth creativity. So I feel like this could be by restricting the z-axis, you can get a lot more interesting thoughts and ideas going on.
Thank you. And just one final question. Before I ask another one, does anybody else have another question? My final question is how were you able to balance? You said that your passion for game design was rekindled this turn. How were you able to balance video game with your schoolwork?
I guess it's sort of I don't know. What I've been doing is like sort of taking my time to sort of I'm struggling with my work, I'm gonna be honest, because of the circumstances. But with the free time that I have been like sort of I guess taking mental notes and like sort of keeping in my mind ideas from these games for the time being.
Yeah, to use for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Thank you. Thanks again. Round of applause for Harrison. Congratulations on completing the year. Louise, you are up next.
Okay. Sorry. Oh, no, wrong one. Why does it behave like this? Okay, so mine is snapshots of pets. During this pandemic, I've been spending a lot of time with my pets. We have a cat and a dog, and I wanted to document somewhat their experience during quarantine. Something I realized is that they have no clue. Like, I don't know if they understand the news reporter. Like, I don't understand if like they go and read newspapers in their free time. And so I don't really like it's very hard to understand their understanding of these times because they don't have the same as us. There's a pretty big language barrier between cats, dogs, and humans. Our pets have been with us for all of quarantine. They've seen how we've reacted, but we don't know what they know. Like, we don't know what they know about what's going on. They have stuck around with us, and Bruno, the dog, is a good reason that we do leave the house. though he's been going on less and less walks due to fireworks. And like it seems the fireworks have been his only real concern, though Toast has been kind of annoyed at everyone being around so much, which I think is kind of tough for him. I don't know how he's necessarily coping with it because he keeps on trying to go outside and just hang out in the sun in the yard. Once the weather got hot, Bruno took over the bottom step. He has claimed it as his own, which makes going up and down really hard, and it's also kind of an attention seeking spot. Like there's a lot of going up and down in my house, and so he gets a lot of attention there. And so I think he might be playing into that, but I also think he might just like how cool it is there. Toast has been escaping. He just goes into the yard, but it's been a lot recently. I don't like it because I live on a busy street and it scares me. It makes him really happy though, and he always comes back in like 10 minutes. He always comes back. And he's always in the yard, very easy to find. We're hopefully gonna cat proof the yard, and first we'll be making a cat gate, and because he sneaks right past us and we have no idea. He leaves sometimes because he dips out and just decides to duck under the porch. Not the porch, under the bench. And it's been kind of annoying dealing with him because he's been not very happy during this quarantine. He doesn't like attention that much, and he's been getting a lot of it. And so it's been I think it's been pretty tough for him. But these are like the people, not the people who we have to be sympathetic for right now in our family, because we have to understand their situations and make sure that they are being taken care of well, even though they don't necessarily understand what's going on.
Thank you. Any questions for Louise? Thanks for turning on your camera. I'm wondering, you might be expecting this question. So I'm wondering if you can make any connections between, your pet's experience and their transition to what's happening on a bigger scale right now. What's happening for your family, what's happening for the city, what's happening for the world.
There's been a lot of infighting. The dog and the cat have not been getting along as usual. And the cat has been extra feisty because we were his fourth family, and we got him when he was 4 years old, and he didn't exactly have the best past. And so he doesn't like people being around as much. And I'm kind of going crazy being around the same people 24/7. My brother and I have been getting into a lot of fights and just petty disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I think a lot of the world is being stuck with the same people for so long really does drive you crazy.
Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting that you're thinking about the pandemic through their eyes and through their perspective. You said that they're the ones that we need to be sympathetic to.
Yeah, there's a lot of people we need to be sympathetic to, but they're the animals right now that they don't get it. They don't have that. I think they don't have that reasoning to understand exactly what's going on. Right. If they do, then I don't know if we'd know. But yeah, it's been kind of tough because I want them to be happy and I want them to be well cared for, and they have I presume they have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
I'm wondering if in thinking about this through their perspective, if it's also made you think about viewing the pandemic through other people's perspectives. Has that kind of have you been able to walk in anyone else's shoes throughout this, thinking about your experience as a family, but then on a wider scale.
Yeah, since the pandemic began, I've been thinking about it, but more recently, I've been thinking about the pets a lot because, like, I've always thought about other people's experiences, but then I realized there's other experiences in my own home that I can't get. Like, I can't get their knowledge about what's going on or their emotion. Like, I only get like their body language and their reactions, but I don't get their words.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Thank you. Any final questions for Louise before we move on? So Kylie and Marcus have joined us. Welcome. Okay. Thank you, Louise.
Thank you.
Congratulations on finishing the school year.
Yay.
Nakaya, you are up next.
All right. Let me
We're
mute
good.
my mic on my computer. Okay.
There we go. No more echo.
Yeah. Tab. All right. Can you guys see it? Oh, I stopped presenting. Okay. Let's see.
There we go. Yep, we can see it in full screen now.
Okay. So for this presentation, I titled it "Snapshots of Street Skating," and with that being said, yeah, I'm gonna jump right in. So. All right. So for this presentation, I reached out to an artist by the name of Andrew, and he's from Seattle. He's basically a painter, and he's a freelance artist. So whenever he feels like creating, he creates, and that's what I feel like I want to get into in my future. This is a painting that one of his paintings I really liked. It's from a series called Appetites of Integrity, and I just like the aspect of realism in many of his works. So this was the painting I chose for my snapshot by him. It's titled Run One, and this painting was actually made for a skateboard that was designed for a new professional skateboard member who had just joined this brand called Quasi Skateboards. And within this painting, you could see a lot of things. You could there's a lot of words behind this painting without even having to be said. Um, I feel like for me, there was a lot of topics behind the painting that I really liked, and I'm gonna get into that in the next slide after this. And this is like an artist statement or just like a his reflection of the piece. He said that he didn't really have an artist statement, and this piece was made after like the George Floyd protesting has started throughout the United States, and he said that he likes that it's coming back to light. And as far as now, like socially and as far as in the media now, things are being addressed more, and that people are rebelling against the unjust system and they want change in the country. So this is the actual skateboard deck itself. They come in two different sizes. I think there were a limited amount that were out, so people might be reselling them online, wherever. But yeah, this is the deck, and the skater's name was Dick Rizzo, and he has a lot of different clips on YouTube if you want to search him up. So my interpretation of this and why I chose it as a snapshot of street skating was for the issues among our people and among our society that one painting focused on, and also how skateboarding has influenced a lot of things and brought people together through art and through the influences on fashion and lifestyles. Um, this is my last slide and my reflection. Well, not my last slide, but my reflection is this: is like being a skater and being a black male in America is already hard itself. But on top of that, as far as just being a skater, there's a lot of misconceptions and stereotypes that come with it, and you do get like looked at differently, especially by authorities and especially by security guards and police officers. Um, People just like see you as like violent outcast or just like you're looking for trouble, and that's not like the image we want to portray as like skateboarders. We just want to create as far as like filming, come together, bring people together and have fun as a community, and also like grow individually as far as like trick wise and stuff, skill wise. But yeah, this was my inside. I put skater die, and it's like a familiar phrase among skaters. So yeah, the end.
Thank you. Any questions for Nakaya? Any questions? I have a few. I'll give another couple seconds if anybody else has one. Nakaya, when you said that you were going to be using someone else's art for this snapshot, I was surprised because I know you're also an artist and you create a lot of artwork. So have you also been creating artwork during this time, and has this Run One image influenced you in any way, or like what are you creating in terms of your own artwork right now?
As far as like my own artwork, I've drawn on like the grip tape of my skateboards and like the deck of my board. Hold on, sorry. Yeah. So I was saying I drew on the deck of my grip tape and my board. And as far as from like other things I've been creating, I still do like the stickers I make. Um, I've been working on these paintings. I don't have paint right now, so I've just been sketching on the canvases to see what I might want to do with them. But over this time, I have been creating, and I feel like from my art, as far as like what I used for the snapshot, the first image on my slideshow was like me doing this trick I just learned, and it was like really difficult, and I fell a lot. And um, I actually for this board I use this the same board I used to draw on and stuff, and I wish I would have put pictures of it on there. But yeah, I've been just skating for the most part, and then as far as like the protests, I remember I put like Black Lives Matter on my board in bubble letters and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And you talked about just the image that's associated with people who skateboard. Do you have ideas of how that perception could be transformed?
As far as like the conception being transformed and just being created, I would say that it's really from people who don't know much about it or just run in with one bad skater or person. Cause I get why people say like, oh, skaters are outcasts or they're different from like different groups of people as far as like cliques and stuff. Cause with skating, a big thing that's like misconceived about it is like all skaters like do drugs and stuff, drink, smoke, and then skate or whatever. Or all of them do graffiti or all of them like commit crimes and stuff. Cause even like not the media, but like movies and TV shows, like they all replicate these stereotypes and misconceptions. Like there's a lot of movies that have like skaters going in stores stealing with their friends, and like just as far as like running from the police, that would usually be just from like skating somewhere, and or just somebody calling the police on you for skateboarding. And yeah, as far as like them being created, I feel like it's just grown over the years because skating really started in like the 70s and the 80s, and then to where it is now, or like you see people skating stairs, skating down the street, doing tricks and stuff. Um, it's really changed as far as like what's been allowed and what's not allowed, as far as like going to somebody else's property to skate, or like just things that come into the culture. Because I feel like it's being shaped with social media to become like all trendy and stuff on social media outlets to gain like following, and then from there, like in reality with skaters, like if you try to meet a skater or if you see somebody skating, you might think the same thing you think about somebody you saw on the phone. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Any final questions for Nakaya? Okay, thank you. And congratulations to you as well for finishing up the year. You're welcome. Noelle, you are up.
Okay, cool. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Sorry, I just had to check because my mic never works. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
All right, cool. Crap. Okay. Okay, so this is mine. Welcome to my snapshots of everything that's kept me sane during quarantine. Here's everything in just a small picture. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Noelle. I'm not able to see your image yet. Are you screen sharing?
Yeah. Can you not see it?
Yeah, I was
Here we
seeing
go.
that.
Looks like it's just starting.
Can
you
you
were
see
seeing it?
Yep, I was, and I am now.
Interesting. I think. Okay.
Do you want me to
Sorry to
stop
interrupt
and
you. It looks like on my end it's just starting
go
to
again?
load.
Oh, okay.
No, that's okay. Yeah. Just go ahead and start over. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Oh, it's fine. Okay, so welcome to my snapshots of everything that's kept me sane during quarantine. Almost everything on here is kind of self-explanatory if you know what they are, except the family one. I didn't include an actual picture of my family because I couldn't find a good picture of all of us. Because there's like barely any, but I know that a lot of people have some troubles with their families, like they're not able to get along with their siblings or they can't vibe with their parents, but I feel like I have a pretty good relationship with my family. Since we can't go outside, kind of have to spend more time with my family than I usually would, and I've kind of built a better relationship with them over this quarantine. They make me laugh a lot, and because my family's hilarious, and if it weren't for them, quarantine would have been a lot harder. The image, so the image on the bottom left, which is this right here, is a fairly new game. It's called Valorant. I put that in there because I feel like a lot of you wouldn't recognize what it is. And then on the bottom right is a mobile app called Ibis Paint X. It's right here. And I always like drew some things on the app whenever I got bored, and here's one of them. That's like this is the only good drawing I had right now because I deleted the app and it made me lose all my drawings. So, and then I included Google Classroom in here because schools kept me on a schedule, and if we didn't have school, or if we didn't do online schooling during this, my sleep schedule and everything else would be totally messed up. And my teachers have also helped me keep some sort of sanity by giving us some entertaining things to do once in a while for schoolwork instead of just the usual things we have to do. And the action projects for this term were a lot more fun. And I don't think it was really because of quarantine, but because of the material. It was more hands-on learning than writing and stuff like that. So, yeah. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Noel. Any questions for Noel?
I have a question.
Yeah.
As far as like things that keep you sane, has outside also like been a factor? Like, have you been outside ever since like quarantine or no?
I've like barely gone outside because I'm like normally a homebody already and I don't really go outside a lot. But like quarantine has made it much worse and I don't really go outside at all. But yeah, I guess that is a thing that I should have added.
It's cool. Good job on your presentation.
Hey, sorry about that. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I was afraid that was going to happen. We've got some bad weather here, so I think I got kicked off the internet.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
it's okay.
Did you have any questions? Did anyone have any questions for Noel?
Yeah, Nakai asked one.
Okay, good. Thank you. I was wondering if you had thought about a presentation with this theme like 6 months ago, you know, things that keep you sane. How would that list, or how would those images, how would that snapshot look different than it does today? Were there different things that kept you sane 6 months ago, and have you gained a new appreciation for anything?
I feel like just being in school in general would have like kept, or made me my mood much better, like my mental health much better, physical health much better. So I feel like school is one of the important ones from 6 months ago. But otherwise, everything on here is just stuff I do generally.
Yeah. What do you think you're going to remember from this experience 5 years from now? And it could be from the coursework. You said that the coursework, just because of the topics, was a little bit more engaging than in other terms. Is there anything that in terms of content that you think will really stand out to you? And then also in terms of quarantine, that you think when you look back on this after high school, what will stand out from spring of 2020?
I'm not sure. I don't think I'll really be remembering this 5 years from now.
You'll have moved on, right? You'll be in college then. Okay. Thank you, and congratulations to you as well on finishing your first year at GCE.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm on my phone now, so I can only snap. Thank you, Noel. Okay, on to our final presentation of today. We have Savannah up.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm gonna try and join this on my computer.
Okay.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay. So, for my final presentation, I'm just gonna be talking about my quarantine experience and what I did over time and what happened. So, uh, the first few weeks, I was kind of bored. That's basically, and these are like the apps that I used the most during those first few weeks. I wasn't worried about anything but my schoolwork and getting that done um, until my mom started showing a few symptoms related to COVID. Um, she was scared for my safety and my cousin's safety who's staying with us. So she self-isolated herself in a room for 2 weeks, and this is like the list that she wanted us to bring to her door, what she needed, so she could leave. And during that time, I was like, I had a lot of thoughts. I didn't really know what to do. So I just distracted myself with schoolwork and music and shopping. But after those 2 weeks, she started feeling a lot better. And she tested negative, which is amazing. But she didn't want to stay in the house any longer, so she booked all of us flights to Pennsylvania, where we're all from. So we wouldn't have to stay in the house any longer because it just didn't feel great. It felt terrible being in the house for longer than that time. These are just like pictures from that were taken throughout the visit. They're mostly my cousins, but this is my sister right here. Um, we were originally supposed to just be staying there for a week, but after like everything in the world happened with the cases of COVID rising and the protests and riots for George Floyd and stuff, we ended up staying for a month because our flights kept getting delayed. But anyway, in conclusion, this wasn't the best journey, but it got much better over time. And I'm happy that all of us are safe, including my mom, because I wouldn't know what I would do if she wasn't all right. But I like to think of this as a growing experience, not only for me, but my family as well. That's about it.
Thank you, Savannah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Savannah? I see we have a few guests on the line, so you're welcome to ask questions as well. I have a question for you, Savannah. So you had to go through two major transitions this term. One is school closing and having to do your classes online, and one is being thrown into this caretaker role all of a sudden. What was that like for you? What were those two transitions like, and what do you think will be your takeaways from those?
It was definitely a lot. I'm not used to being a caretaker, but I'm lucky that my cousin was here to help. And I wouldn't know what I would do if I were alone because I'm not used to like having any like siblings or anything or taking care of mom because she usually takes care of me.
Right.
But like the biggest takeaways were definitely having to leave things at her door. That wasn't like easy, and like having to stay away from her and like not being able to hug her. That really threw me off a lot. But it was a lot to take in, and I started like falling behind in school because I didn't care. I just wanted to take care of her. But I'm pretty sure it was a learning experience for all of us. Like, you know. But yeah,
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you and your mom and your cousin are all doing okay.
thank you.
Does anybody else have a question for Savannah? Okay, I think we are done. Congratulations to you, Savannah, for also making it through your first year at GCE and making it through your junior year. We've been really happy to have you as part of our community. And yeah, congratulations to everybody. I hope that you all will join us for graduation at 5 o'clock. Everybody should have the link on their calendar. We have some student speakers. We have some reflections on the year. We'll have live music, live in quotation marks. So please open up that live feed and support your seniors as they wrap up their experience at GCE. Thanks to everybody, and I hope you have a good summer. Am I forgetting anything, Sharon? I'm calling on Sharon to see if I've forgotten anything. Okay. All right. Good. Thank you to everybody. Great job. And we'll see you at graduation at 5 o'clock. Bye-bye. Take care.
Stephanie.
You're welcome. Bye.
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 Oh, I also posted my presentation on my blog.
Oh, great. Thank you, Nakaya.
No problem.